Oh, okay. So, okay, so I know it said offline because I didn't hit the start streaming button. But I was just checking to see if you guys were still able to join um, before I hit the start streaming button. So that's what I was looking for, and I didn't see anybody pop up in chat and say anything or whatever. It's supposed to be just the background while we were waiting to get started, but we'll figure that out. Let me know if sound is good though. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I hope I did the settings right. Okay, good. I had to pretty much make a new YouTube. I don't know why the other one just wasn't connecting or whatever. So I just make sure that I had all the settings right, and all the sound and everything was set up fine or whatever. So, good deal, good deal. Trying to find something that I just noticed earlier on a coin off of Huobi that just went on an absolute monster tear. Um, but it should give us some, signs of hope for some of these other coins that just look absolutely dead. Um, but we'll look at it in just a second here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to look at Bitcoin first, since Bitcoin is obviously king. Um, so whatever Bitcoin does and what Bitcoin says is how alts are going to follow and how the market is going to follow. So let's check it out. Let's see what we're working with here. All right, so we got 12-hour chart pulled up here. And this is not looking like a pretty good setup right here. This is not advised for any kind of long position. You can see our MACD is kind of way overextended. Look how far up we are as far as the MACD lines go. You see a similar setup right there, and then followed by a big drop that came down. So let's look at, so one of the first key points that I'm going to look at here, or that we need to be looking at, is on top of this big drop right here that we got yesterday. That was a monster, or not yesterday, but the other day. It was a monster 24% drop that sapped about $70 billion out of Bitcoin market in that drop. So it was a pretty significant drop, and it may have, even short term, but it may have just absolutely sapped the bullish momentum for Bitcoin. So I'm going to be looking here for a retest of this zone first to see how this holds. I just don't see pushing back bull yet until we test this zone right here. And you can see it still here. The MACD did cross bullet or bearish, excuse me. Got a bearish histogram. So what I'm going to be watching for is, no doubt we'll likely test this zone again. So I'm going to watch to see if we come down and just consolidate on it to um, push for another round up like we see here. So there's a big drop. Oops. There's a good drop here, and then it consolidated and it just kind of worked its way up, and you can see how it worked itself into the MACD there. Personally, though, I think we're going to go a good bit deeper, and I think we're going to test down here into this range. I would not at all be surprised to see us test right here off of the 100-day moving average somewhere around 9,000, right off the top of this next support zone here. Now, if we moved our moving average away from there, and you can see it a little bit there. Now you can see a little bit clearer how the MACD is way overextended. Look at the gap distance between our histograms here and our MACD lines. And we crossed bearish histogram. OBV right here is heading down. So hopefully everybody is making good use of this. So you can see a little bit better than the traditional OBV. See, so this version that I shared with everybody is a lot better. So even though this does look like it's still in an uptrend, you can see, you can kind of gauge a little bit better where if OBB is turning down and going to cross bearish under this neutral line right here, it kind of helps to give you some signals of when to buy and sell as well. So good tool to use to watch. And I think Trading Room, excuse me, not TradeView, Trading Room and a few other big accounts are also calling for a deeper pullback back here to about 9,000 or so. And I'm kind of more or less leaning for that as well. I can see that happening. I just don't think that this is going to be a deep enough correction right here off of that big of a drop. Now, let's zoom out to the 3-day. Okay, so 3-day, it's inside bar candle here. That's pretty heavy. However, we don't have the 7-day moving average rounded down yet. So I don't know when the next candle opens. I forgot what day that is. But we could still see a bit of a drop, maybe to test this wick that I mentioned on that 12-hour chart. And then maybe a push back up and then down. Because I don't see us breaking below the 200-day moving average on the 3-day chart at all. Maybe ever, I don't know. But there's no doubt that probably over the next few months, because I mean, if you look here, we're heading into September here, that if we don't continue bullish over 15 to 30,000 like everybody's screaming to their mothers, then we're definitely going to come down, and at least this would probably be the bottom of this run back around 7,000. But it's just all speculation, of course, because the weekly still is pretty strong. We're still in an uptrend on the weekly. Sunday night, Sunday evening, we'll see what the new weekly candle looks like. But this was a pretty significant drop. That is a pretty nasty wick on a weekly candle. I think this was a 30% candle. Yeah, that's a 30% candle, and a good 20% was just crushed out of that. So I'm curious to see what the next candle is going to look like come Sunday evening. That's tomorrow evening, at about 7 p.m. Central Time. Which I would imagine that is going to open bearish, given that our 12-hour is in a deep downtrend, and look at our daily trying to round down as well. You can see the MACD curling over right there. You can see the histogram getting a little bit shorter, and our RSI is going down, and you can see the candle structure here. So this may have been an A, a B, and a C, which was put us deeper down into this 9,000 range that a lot of big accounts are shilling. So that's what I'm watching for on Bitcoin. And you can kind of see, I don't want to say that that's going to be an ABC. That's a little too close. I don't like to say that it's going to do that. However, it is possible. So if we did actually complete this B wave, we'll probably be putting in that C wave down. So that's kind of fitting what the 12 hour is looking like, because 12 hour is already well into a downtrend. 6 hours as well. It's kind of just building some sort of base, trying to build some sort of base, but it looks like we lost. Okay, you can see the 7-day moving average under the 20 right here. And it doesn't look like it's going to get pushed back above. So that's what I'm looking for Bitcoin. I'm going to see this area test again. Okay, so we're going to see this area test again, maybe catch a little bounce up, and then watch for a deeper drop down here to about 9,000 or so. Somewhere around in here. Probably off of the bottom of these little wicks here that match the top of this wick right there. So that puts it right about somewhere almost right at 9,000. So that's what I see for Bitcoin. But first, I'm not going to say that we're going to head down to this 9,000 range just yet until we see that this range breaks first. But we're certainly on our way, as I drew from the beginning, we're certainly on our way to test this range. Then maybe catch a little bounce up, and either we bounce back down or we consolidate right here, and then we get our next push up. So this is going to be a critical support right here that's going to give us a bigger picture whether if we're going to continue down or continue up. So it's got a lot of volatility on it. If you're scalping, if you're playing 50 to 100x leverage, I mean, this is a lot of volatility. I mean, you can make some serious cheddar in this range. I mean, look at this. You could have longed that and popped 16%. You see that we hit this resistance right here at the tops of these candles, shorted it. If you're playing 100x, this would have been 1,600% profits. Shorted it for about 800%. I mean, it's a lot of volatility if you know what you're doing with margin trades, but also please be very, very careful because margin trading is extremely hectic, and a 0.5% or 0.75% move in the wrong direction, and you're liquidated and you lose everything. See, this would have been a good play right here for a short. You see the rising wedge right there. Nice rising wedge. Very perfect. That would have been a great short. Let's see. If we had shorted at the top here as it was getting into this apex, that would have been 8% short. So even if you're playing 20x leverage, that would have been 160% profit. Or if you were just, trading like a degenerate, it would have been 800% profit. So that would have been easy money right there on that. Had you been playing that and followed, plop down some trend lines. And then you can see, again, by just as we have shown in all of our lessons, you would have known where to take profit on that, because these candles here and this wick and this confluent zone, this confluent zone, this confluent zone. So this would have been your cue to take profits if you had caught that short. Okay, so that's what I see for Bitcoin. All right, so because Bitcoin is heading into a downtrend, we're seeing the opposite or the inverse reaction as from altcoins that we have been seeing from last year. Everybody kind of got into the habit, oh, Bitcoin is going to dump, it's going to drop, it's going to drag alts down more. But now we're seeing the inverse happening, the opposite happening, meaning that as Bitcoin falls and corrects, retraces, or whatever, altcoins are actually getting the flush of money. So they're moving money from Bitcoin in dips and drops and whatever, and altcoins are getting those short-term pops and bounces. Now, we had mentioned to keep an eye on some heavier, bigger market cap coins, and Qtum is one of them. Qtum has been making some pretty good moves as lately too. Here is a nice 2-day chart. So you can see the consolidation zone right here. Now again, this is a 2-day chart, so let's look how long the consolidation pattern was right here. Okay, so this is about 44, 45 days, so that's about a month and a half that Qtum consolidated right here, and now you can see it making a push. Got a very nice first leg, and then I think Bitcoin had that one last gung-ho run that kind of just sapped the momentum out of Qtum, and now that Bitcoin is dropping, you see the money flushed right back into it. So if we look at weekly, very bullish sign right here on the weekly. We see the RSI curling up. We see our OBV bullish too. We see MACD crossed blue over orange and a green histogram. So weekly is very bullish. Nice weekly volume candle right here too, by the way. That's a good sign right there. And you see right here short-term rejection right off of the 20-day moving average there. Weekly looks good. That's a very nice strong candle. So if anybody is holding QTUM and swinging it, I would look here at weekly resistance around 686, 700 range. So that's about another 50, 60% right there before that could fall. A good profit range, especially if you're on CoinDCX and playing with margin times 4. That's about 240% profit from your margin. So if you put in $1,000 of your money into QTUM at a 4x margin, that's like playing with $4,000. So you'd be making 62% on $4,000 instead of $1,000. So that's really good profit right there. So QTUM, short-term time frame, look like it's trying to hold this 20-day moving average here. This was a nice little retest of support here. So this was the breakout pattern right here. This was the breakout and then fall back to a support, and you can see that this support zone was right off of the bottom here, and now we're moving back up. So QTUM looks really, really good from pretty much all time frames right now. Let's see, 6 hour. 6 hours still in an uptrend here. So I don't want to say, it's too late to enter. Because it's really not when you're looking at it on this weekly time frame, and we put that target down that we did right up here up to about 700 Satoshi or so. It's not too late. It's still got some upswing, and it's one of the few alts that has a bullish weekly MACD. So that's what we need to be looking for as far as altcoins go, is we need to look at weekly MACDs to see what coins are going to start reversing. And so right now, QTUM, being it's one of the higher market cap coins, looks like it's going to be one of them. So I'm looking for around about 700 or so for a target. Buy-in range, let me go back down to the 15-minute. Okay, so 15-minute looks to be getting a little bit of a dip. This looks good right here for a buy-in range. We're on that 440 mark. I don't like that trend line. That's not a very good trend line. So watch the price here and see how this develops. Because if we may find support once again here, because you can see it kind of consolidated here for several hours right here in this 440 mark. If this were to fail, oops, I think I just deleted that other support line right there. You might get lucky and catch a wick right down here off of the 200-day moving average on the 15-minute around 420. That'd be a great buy-in right there. And you may get that because that is a bit of a drop right there. So you may get lucky on that one. Is Bitcoin pumping or something? Is that what's going on? Yeah, it looks like smaller time frames are getting a little bit of a pump right there. So that's what's pushing QTUM down right now. Bitcoin's getting a small little push up. So I still like this range. I'd like to see this deeper range here around 400, 420 or so for a buy-in. Maybe even at the top at 430 would be good. But again, if you zoom out, here's a 5-day. 5-day looks really strong as well. 4-day looks strong. I mean, QTUM, even against BTC pair, looks pretty strong. Ooh, too many lines. All right, so here is the USD pair. If you prefer to play against the US dollar, or Tether rather, instead of Bitcoin, still in an uptrend. So this candle here was that big drop that that it got when Bitcoin pushed up to that $14,000 range or 13,000 or whatever it was. But even still, the US dollar range still looks good. Looks like this zone right here is proven to be a pain in the ass to get above. So you can even buy above this range at 560 or so on confirmation that it breaks, because it's kind of struggling right there on the USD pair. I would probably hold off and do that instead. I would probably hold off to see if it gets a clean break above 560 on confirmation, because you can see right here off of these three candle wicks that it struggled to get above this resistance. Weekly, it looks to still be in a very strong uptrend. Look at that. I mean, if the weekly had its way, I mean, you can probably see this zone up here, or even as high up as there. So there's some good targets for QTIM on the USD pair to go. That's a very strong weekly candle. But again, on short-term time frame, might catch a pullback around to the 430 area if this were to fall back down or so. I don't think it'll dip as far as 380. But overall, QTIM is a good play. That daily looks like it just wants to rip. Look at that. Look at the key notes right here. Okay, so we're in an uptrend. Damn it. In an uptrend, you can see the 7-day moving average crossing bullish above the 20-day moving average. So it's breaking away from the 20, heading up towards the 100-day moving average, and so is price action. So now price action right here on this candle is pinched right here between the 100-day and the 7-day moving average in a pretty strong uptrend. So the BTC pair is actually looking pretty strong. And again, we still want to see that 700 Satoshi range. Let's go ahead and slap another more conservative target around about 615 or 617 area. So good play for QTIM. It's shaping up very nicely. I certainly wouldn't take your eyes off of it. Even up to that first target, almost 40% profit. All right, let's move on to Wanchain. Wanchain was recently selected from their Twitter that I posted as one of the global top 50 blockchain projects or something, whatever it was. Let me go back and look. Yeah, so Wanchain has been selected as one of the top 50 global blockchain innovations by Daily Research. I don't know how big of a deal this is, who Daily Research is or whatever, but I did find this. So this is an article on Yahoo Finance. And Yahoo Finance, if anybody is familiar with stocks or whatever, Yahoo Finance is actually a pretty significant deal. Especially crypto-wise, if you get posted on something like that, Yahoo Finance actually has a pretty decent reach as far as reaching out to investing worlds. But they put out this article 2 days ago that talking about blockchain needs interpolarity to become widely adopted, and Wanchain is actually mentioned in this article. And I didn't read the whole thing yet, but it's bullish for Wanchain being listed or at least mentioned on Yahoo Finance in the American markets. So this is pretty bullish signal or whatever for WAN with all the updates that they got coming out too. So it's certainly one that I'm going to keep an eye on. They got a lot of stuff coming out. What Polkadot is trying to do, being about interpolarity or trying to get on Yahoo Finance for shills. All right, so when we look at Wanchain's chart, you can see the 12-hour crossing bullish here. The daily that we just saw doesn't look too bad either. Looks just a little bit behind here, maybe another 2 days, 3 days maybe. Still want to see this round out a little bit more. Yeah, I think a lot of coins are doing interpolarity, which is going to be, you know, a big step for blockchain to really kind of bring all of the masses together, and not masses as far as people, but masses as far as all of the projects and coins. So interpolarity is certainly, what is that doing out there? It's certainly a bullish, yeah, highway of exits for blockchain to interchange between each other. Exactly, right. So my target for when, even short term, hasn't changed. I'm still looking for this 420 right here. Maybe another day or 2, 3 days or so for this to round out. Might catch a pop up, but I don't just see this mooning just yet, because if you look at the weekly still is pretty well in the dirt. Now we get a new weekly candle tomorrow evening. So if the daily and the 12-hour are holding out okay, and they're holding support and all this new stuff is coming out, we may round out right here, which means we may catch a candle or something up to that 420 area or something I was talking about, and then it'll get pushed back down to consolidate a little bit more or something, and then moving back up. But I don't see anything big as far as a move coming out of WAN just yet. Here you see the 3-day, new 3-day candle holding support right there, but nothing all that bullish on the MACD either. But the other bullish signs is look at the OBV kicking back up. Look at the RSI kicking back up. So the next 3-day candle could be bullish as well, which would turn the next histogram pink, like you see here. So when it's pink, it starts to turn bullish there. So again, you can see how we got some doji candles right here. So selling pressure is starting to ease up. We're seeing some consolidation, but again, I'm not holding out for anything major or monster push yet. Only looking for short-term pops right here. 12-hour is bullish though. You can see the OBV inching up to cross bullish. RSI is just still kind of flat bottom, so it needs a little bit more pressure. I'd even take a scalp back up here to test this wick again at 360 right there. I think I got in at like 320, so it'd be a small scalp. 12%, but with the 4x, that's 40% profit on the amount of money that I put into it. So even a small scalp, which is really all I'm looking for. I'm not banking on any kind of long-term hold right now on WAN because of that weekly chart doesn't look all that great. But even a short-term pop at 4x is still good profit. So I'd be happy with the small scalp right there. So that's what I'm looking for on WAN. I'd like to see just a wee bit higher up to that 430, 420 area for some daily resistance. But right now, we are kind of holding this zone right here, and we will probably at least test this wick again here probably within the next 12 to 24 hours or so. All right, let's move on to AMB, Ambrosis. Yeah, the margin scalps are great. It really helps, but it can also take you out. If you get a bad entry and the coin drops, I think it has to drop almost 20% to liquidate you. But if you get a good entry and even a 5 to 10% scalp with 4x, that's an easy 20% profit. So they're great for scalping alts. Even though alts are kind of shitty right now, there's a few of them that are perking up. AMB is another one. They came out with their latest updates. Let me go back to Twitter. Somebody had a baby. Okay. So Ambrosis, here is a tweet that they had today. So they're at some kind of conference, it looks like, doing meetups and whatever. This chipless thing right here. So this chipless is actually a superior technology, from what I read, to Walton Chain and to VeChain. So it makes it cheaper, lighter, and obviously, if it's cheaper, it could be better mass produced for products and services and whatnot. So, and I kind of compared the two, or compared Ambrosis, VeChain, and Walton Chain as far as their tech goes. About 2 months ago or so, when I first started looking at Ambrosis, and their technology is actually better than VeChain and Walton Chain. They just seriously lack on the marketing development. They don't have the marketing capability that VeChain does. So VeChain definitely knows how to push their product. Ambrosis is more tech savvy. Yeah, there's some FUD on Walton Chain too. Let me see if I can find that. Well, we can find that another time. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, they had an attack on a block number. Yeah, you're so right. I saw that earlier on Discord that somebody shared. Oh, it was in the news FA section. Yeah, right here. So Walton Mainnet is under a 99.9% attack. That's crucial. That is brutal. Normally, for a blockchain to fail, even a 51% attack, even just that 1 extra percent gives that hacker control, as they have the majority hash power or whatever that case may be. But a whole 99.9% basically means that Walton Chain just got completely wrecked. So that is not going to be good for them. I'm scared to look at their chart. Expect a hard fork, which basically means Walton Chain would die and their fork would take over. So I'd be very, very cautious of Walton Chain right now. But good stuff coming out on Ambrosis still. I'm still waiting on some kind of partnership or something. I mean, they got a lot going on for them. Very nice looking setup here. You can see the rounding out of the price structure. A hold of support here for what looks like about the past 2 days. And if you look at their weekly, look at that. A bullish histogram on the weekly. And there's a bull cross right there over the MACD lines. So that's pretty good for them. But again, this looks almost like Wanchain, almost identically. They still need a bullish candle right here. Oh, that'd be a good scalp up here to catch this resistance zone right here. Again, still nice doji candle right here. Still just not fully convinced on the strength yet. Swiping back and forth. I mean, it's just not fully there. Needs a few more days. But the other fact is that Palm Venice Beach is shilling them. And if anybody has been following them or has seen them around, knows that when they put out some kind of report or review of a coin, that coin basically instantly goes like 200%. So the fact that they shilled something on AMB's chipless set that they got coming out might mean that Tiki Tawari guy or whoever he is that runs Palm Venice Beach might be putting out a coin review to absolutely send AMB launching. So I would expect if that does happen, you got a potential to, he may pump it up here or something for a good 100% range or 100% profit. Now, again, if you're on CoinDCX and you slap a 4X on that, oh my heavens, that's almost 400% profit. But again, I'm not sold on it just yet. I'd like to see this probably consolidate a little bit more. right here. Maybe catch a small pop up to about 400, but it's just not ready yet. One other thing I wanted to show you guys on WAN. WAN's books are pretty thin. I mean, look how thin this is. I mean, you got all this bid support, great bid support, and is really thin on the books right here. So you got got some good sized bids right here, and it looks like it's just thinning out. And if you go to the ask and you come up here and look at all of it, I mean, it's just thin. A little bit of resistance here at 350, a little here. I mean, it's just kind of scattered. Here's a decent wall. Here's that 420 mark area that I was looking for on WAN. So there's about 2 Bitcoin wall right there. So this is what I was looking for as far as a short-term scalp. But once it breaks past that, I mean, it's absolutely just scattered nothing up here until about 620 or 600 or so, 600 to 620. I mean, it's just nothing. Look how thin that is. Look, half a Bitcoin wall there, 0.6 there. I mean, it's just thin. Now, if you look at, since we're looking at A and B, I think A and B was a lot, is a lot heavier. See, here's that 420 range. Good resistance zone. Here's another resistance zone near 500. I mean, just going back, it's a little bit heavier than WAN chains. Look at that, 4 Bitcoin wall at 780. But of course, all of that can change once a coin starts pumping. So for A and B, it's got a decent setup. I like it. It's very similar to WAN chains. Nice hold of support right here. Look at the MACD rounding out. Indicators pushing bullish. But again, right at that 420 mark, just like WAN. Yep, just like WAN up here at that resistance zone right there on that. I could see the same test of resistance up there as well. So the good scalp play, 20%. If you're in CoinDCX at 4x leverage, that's 80% of how much money you put into it. So if you bought here at $1,000 and it pumps up here for only 20%, you're making $800 profit. But again, short-term scalps only because these weekly charts have not perked up yet. Yeah, I can do a detailed video on reading order books. I'm kind of filtering in and how to, what to look for as far as the books and the blocks with these live streams. Well, just like I did, we're right here with WAN. I was looking for, the bottom of these candles and this wick, kind of matching up over here as well around that 420, 430 mark. And then what I did was I went to the depth chart and I looked at the bids and the asks and just kind of matched that up to see how well where we see heavy pockets of resistance, heavy sale walls, to see if it matched up with, that resistance zone that I was looking at. So for WAN, you got a 50,000 wall here at 420, not much after that. So I may pop that resistance down a little bit. But for A and B, I think it was pretty spot on because I was looking for a retest right here. Bottoms of these candles, the top of this wick. So this is the resistance line. Then I checked my order books to see if that kind of matches up. And then, yep, that looks like a good place to take some profit right there on a pop because this is a pretty good resistance pocket right here as far as some sale blocks go. There's 2 pretty good size ones right here. So that 420 area matches up with this resistance line that I just put right here off the bottoms of these candles and the tops of this wick. So that matched up. So I know that if I'm looking for a scalp, I know that this is my resistance zone right there. Go to that red. So this is my resistance zone that I'll be watching for. and I know that there is some pretty heavy resistance right here. So I may put my sale kind of right here in this open spot right here, because the algorithm, the bots or whatever, they may push it up to this little bit of level, but I want to make sure I'm out before these heavy blocks. So if A and B was a scalp play right there, it'll probably do something like this, fall back down, and then consolidate to push up. So if this 418 was the resistance zone off the bottom of these candles, top of this wick, I want to be out around about in that little open area around 405, 406, right here in this white gap. Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I kind of just did that little detailed explanation real quick just then, just showing you, you if you look at order books and you identify where your resistance zones are, see if your resistance zones match up with heavier order blocks in the books, so you know that if you're in a coin, you know where your resistance is. You know where the blocks are that is going to act as resistance. So you want to find a pocket that has some room for you to get out in before it hits those blocks to make sure you lock in your profit. So in this case, if A and B was your choice of coin to play, you can just set a sale right here between 404, 407 or something, and just let it bump. But again, of course, it's not going to count if Palm Venice Beach, or they announce even some kind of big partnership even. Because if they do that, I don't know if they announce Unilever and it pumps all the way up here. Holy, that's a big pump. Palm Venice Beach will probably take it up here though. Knowing them as hard as they pump coins. Okay, but if it's just some other kind of pump or something, and it only goes all the way up here, and you had your sale down here, well, you missed all that profit. So there is always that risk of missing profit when you set a sale and just let it ride till it hits. But if you're watching this, if you're actively watching what coin you're in, and you know where your resistance zones are, you know where your order sale blocks are, and you're watching this and it's moving up just kind of naturally, well, and there's no pump, it's just kind of naturally moving, well, then you can still play that pocket and still be out before that resistance wall. Okay, back to VeChain, because VeChain has apparently a lot going on with them. Okay, so VeChain. Here's that volume candle on the Walmart partnership, and that was a monster push on that Walmart partnership. That was a very nice pump. But of course, Bitcoin just pumped as well and said, nope, I'm slapping you back down. So look at this round out right here. Very nice round out. Good volume candles. MACD is absolutely about to cross bull, no doubt. Very, very strong looking MACD. RSI is still in an uptrend. Oops. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Okay, so if we zoom out here. All right, so obviously our first test of resistance is going to be right back at that wick. Now, I don't know how true the IBM partnership is. I hadn't looked in it. I think somebody just posted it in chat today. But if that does happen, that'll certainly be a really big boost to VeChain. So we're just throwing down some resistance zones right here. Turn that off. Okay, so if we're just looking at price action. All right, so nice curl up here. Again, the MACD is bullish. Like to see a retest of this zone here. Then we watch price action. I don't know, maybe test that again, come back down for support, something like that or whatever. I mean, who knows? It can do a lot of different things. or it can just absolutely just IBM and moonshot up, which is a lot of profit. But this, I don't know how sustainable this would be because VeChain does, in fact, have a relatively large market cap. But these are the resistance zones that we want to watch for. So we're going to first watch a retest of that wick. I'd even almost say, you know, you can scalp it right there up to 80. Okay, so like we just did with the order books, if we look at VET. Okay, well, we'll look at there, right there, 80. All right, see how I just mentioned we might even catch resistance right there at 80 because the bottoms of those candles match this confluence zone here, these little candles, and the tops of this candle's right there at 80. So now we go and check our order books. Okay, these aren't that big. Oh, but then we got a big 15 Bitcoin wall right there, right at 80. So this could be a scalp target here. Okay, and then there's going to be a smaller pocket. I think that was at the 84 and then 88. All right, well, see where my dash line is right here. We're right here at the bottoms of these candles. So this is 88, so 87, 86 would be a good place to be out. But of course, 100 being a whole number and a psychological resistance zone. Look at that right there. You got 28, 17, and 12. So you got a much heavier wall up here right at 100, which is the retest of that wick. So that's how you can use the order books to kind of gauge where you can take profit. So of course, first, as always, throw down where your resistance zones are, and then obviously you don't want to set your sales right at the tops of these resistance zones, and this is why, because there's going to be other people trying to sell ahead of you. So you want to find that sweet spot right there at 93 even. Look, there's only 3 Bitcoin there. So if the algorithm or the bots are going to push it up to 100, 93, maybe 97 would kind of be pushing it, but 93 would be a good place to lock in some profits and be out. So then again, if this is just a natural push and it comes up here, all right, tests 100, you're out at 93, then you want to look for support. So this is going to be a support resistance flip because this is a resistance, but when we break above it and we test our next resistance zone and we fall back down, this resistance here is now going to flip support. So this would be our rebuy. And then we're going to watch price action next as it comes up, and then and I know I've showed this a couple times in other charts for all you Elliott wave people, but that's how you can do Elliott waves. Ta-da! This is a little too perfect of a structure though. These are all pretty much one-to-one extensions. So I mean, it could do a lot of different things there because those waves were a little too perfectly matched to one another. But that's essentially how Elliott waves are formed and why people are so hung up on them. I mean, they're basically still right off of support and resistance zone. It's just where it's going to reject and where it's going to find support and all of that stuff. But it's still based off of price action and support and resistances. So this is what I see for VET. Got a lot of good things coming up for them, apparently. A lot of rumors, especially with the IBM. But as far as a technical analysis wise, even against the Bitcoin pair, daily looks really good. And I would expect this test somewhere back up here close to 100. So as we saw from the books, pretty heavy up here close to 100. So you might want to be out, around here in the low to mid 90s even. But of course, you are going to catch a few other pockets of resistance getting up there. So there may be some smaller short-term scalp opportunities in there. Okay, let's move on to the next coin. Excuse me, I had to get a drink here. Algorand, the new Binance coin. Now, there's some very misleading things out there on Algo as far as what the market cap is. Algorand market cap, because it's not quite updated and listed yet on CoinMarketCap. It's only 111 million in volume, but CoinGecko. Okay, so CoinGecko has the available supply, the circulating supply here at 70 million with a market cap of 104 million. And you see the supply here at 10 billion, even though CoinMarketCap says, you know, the total supply is only 2.5 billion. But CoinGecko has it at 10 billion. Now, I want to say, was it research? Binance had it somewhere on their website. Trying to remember where I saw that at. But Binance had the market cap actually closer to like 30 or 40 billion or something, because I saw somewhere, you know, if you just put in the news, so they raised $60 million in their token sale, and one of these had their market cap listed around like $6 billion. I think, yeah, right here. Token sale implies $6 billion market cap, ranking it above even Binance Coin. Yeah, right there. Right there. So I'm really actually kind of unclear as to exactly who is correct. They're saying $6 billion market cap. CoinGecko is saying $104 million market cap. And somewhere that I saw on Binance, it was like $4 billion, which goes in lines with that one website that said $6 billion, because Algo did dump pretty significantly from listing right there. What you got here? Oh, interesting. Oops, too big. Okay. Reported volume. Total supply 2.5 billion. Market cap is still blocked out though. Yeah, it's really just giving me, you know, what the volume is, and it says that the supply down here is 2.5 billion, but it hasn't updated the market cap either. But that's okay. It's getting a lot of hype, a lot of shill. It's a new coin, so of course it's gonna, you know, do something here. So what is interesting, there's still very limited chart history here, but you can see a clear level of support right there. And that's a pretty heavy 6-hour candle right there. You can see the candle sandwiched right here between the 7-day moving average and the 20-day moving average. I would not buy that just yet, because you can see all the tops of these candles that is struggling actually to get a break above that zone. So I would actually be more interested in buying it if it got right here above about 1287. So show me about 1300, and I'd be interested in grabbing it. I'd rather buy on confirmation and miss the first 4% than try to FOMO in now and then it drops, just because there's very limited chart history. I mean, you can see the 20 days still looks to be in a heavy downtrend. Somebody could even argue Someone can even argue a bear pennant right here. Something like that. Someone could argue that. So that's why I'd rather wait for confirmation of a bullish breakout rather than a false breakout or false hopes or whatever. And I'd rather buy, a little bit closer over to 1300. Now again, still limited chart history, so it's kind of hard to peg a target. I'd probably slap one there at about 1700 or so. And then you might catch another one, I don't know, maybe up there somewhere. So it's got potential if it can break out, but right now I'm just hesitant on it. I don't like new coins with limited chart history, because this is really struggling to get above this resistance zone unless this is a nice consolidation pattern right there. So I'm not going to touch that, so I want to put a note right here. Confirmation breakout. TP1 for target price 1, and then TP2 up here. So this is really all I see for Algorand. I mean, just, it's just limited chart history. A lot of, the market cap's not updated, so that's kind of hard to tell as well. So you can just play short term. Seller network. All right, so we're seeing all of the IEOs starting to move together again. No surprise, no shock there. They tend to do that. Seller has built looks like maybe just a hair lower as far as a double bottom. But I guess I can count that a double bottom right there. That'd be all right. I mean, that looks like maybe 5 or 6 Satoshi lower or something. So right here on the daily, looks pretty good. A nice bull cross right here on the 12-hour. Nice rounding up right there. This looks pretty good on Seller. But again, we're only going to look for short-term scalps. Right here, we're already hitting into a resistance pocket. Oops. A little bit of a heavy, or not heavy resistance pocket, but a resistance pocket nonetheless, because you got tops of candles here, matches up with the bottoms over here, and the bottom of this zone right here, and the bottom here. It looks like it might have already rejected. So we want to be very, very cautious. However, this does look a lot stronger that it would break that zone. I would certainly play the 100-day moving average as a resistance right there around 186. So this still has potential, and a lot of potential. That's a pretty good push. But still, we don't want to get too comfortable with any kind of alt bounces right now, because these are going to be very short term. I mean, if you see the relationship of the MACD winding down, and you see it now crossing bull, that does not mean it's just going to go on some kind of 100x, 10x moonshot. So we're going to look for short-term pops, because I think we got to still see and settle how Bitcoin is going to react. So it's going to come up short-term bullish and then back down to consolidate, and then we might get a big push up. So it may come up, come back down, and then we'll catch the big push. So if you miss this pop, and of course, we'll monitor it to see if it does in fact go on a major run. So if you miss this first pop, you can rebuy on support. Once we get a little bit more confirmation from what Bitcoin is going to do going into next month, and then you can just catch that second run, and then maybe catch that 2x, 3x, or whatever the hell it's going to do. So this is what I see for Seller. Nothing major. I would not expect anything right now above 186. Let's see what the order books look like on it. Pretty nice support walls here, trying to push this puppy. It's pretty well fairly matched here. All right. So let's look to see where our heavy blocks are. Here around 148, 150. And it's pretty well nothing after that. That's pretty wide open. So I had that one target there that you saw right here at 186. And if we match that up on our books, well, there's nothing at 186. So it may and could, if it breaks this 150 zone right here, it may very could just blow right past that target. And you can continue up to the next target. So it looks like 220 here on seller. So let's see. That looks about right there off of those wicks right there. Okay, and it is close, pretty close right there. So you see, let me turn this off. So you see the top of this wick and the tops of these wicks, tops of those candles, and all that matching there. So we're at 224. 230 up here, 220's got a pretty decent sized wall, so that could be another resistance pocket right there. But you certainly want to play this 150 area right here. This, if this gets some serious pressure, this could blow. If it gets above this zone, it can really start to move because there's not much up until 220, 230 area. Then it starts getting heavier. Nowhere. But again, all of this could change if it starts really pumping and kicks on the sell bots, because the sell bots will start dumping as this starts going up. But this looks pretty okay so far. 8 BTC at 186. Did I miss that? I don't see 8. Unless it was there and it just kind of like vanished and disappeared or something. Okay, so this is what we see for seller. Not a bad looking 12 hour. The daily looks pretty good too. You can see it a little bit more stronger right there. You can kind of see that rounding out. Looks pretty decent. Very strong daily candle though. So here was a good breakout pump right here, a test pump, and then here was the fallback to support. So this is what happens when you miss that first pop. You don't buy in FOMO. You can wait for the support retest on that next candle for the drop and then buy it. Because then if you had done that, you'd be up, 16, 18, 20% already on that next candle, rather than probably just breaking even because you FOMO'd in right here or something. So you always wait for confirmation. Even if you miss that first breakout, don't worry about it. Buy the retest of support. All right, so let's check out REN. REN is a good project. I've mentioned it quite a few times before in live streams several months ago. It's not one that we've really given a whole lot of looking into, but just a quick rundown. What REN does is it allows institutions and big money investors to basically hide their order blocks. So when you're looking at order book or something, and say somebody wants to put in, I don't know, a 2,300 Bitcoin, or not 2,300, let's just say a 50 Bitcoin buy order. Well, it would kind of mask it and hide it so it doesn't show up here on the order books. And this is beneficial, of course, to big money institutions and investors, so they don't get front run. Because if you see, a big block or multiple blocks or whatever, and other traders like, oh crap, there's a lot of money trying to flow into this, let me start buying in, and they end up pushing up the price, so those big investors don't get the coins that they want the price at or whatever. But yeah, REN looks really good. It's a really strong weekly right here. I mean, this did not ever correct much since listing, even back in December. So this is a very strong chart. Even though that doesn't have a lot of weekly history, just going back and thinking about all the ups and downs that Bitcoin has had, even since December, this didn't move much in either direction. Well, I mean, I guess 80% is a big swing. But when you look at the overall history of the chart, that's actually pretty tight. So a strong daily still has to get above, still has to break above this. It's not, it's kind of struggling right now, but I think it'll do it. And again, judging by those order books, it's got some pretty decent bid support, and it's just thin as shit. So here's that zone that it's got to get above right there. 667, 780 or so, or 680, whatever. So it starts to get heavy up here around 700, 720. So it's not, doesn't have a whole lot of hype on it right now. It's still pretty low volume, 130 volume, but the chart looks great. I mean, I think this is going to keep moving. I mean, this is a pretty decent 2-day chart even. I'd even expect, to retest these highs up here or something. But it's just really kind of limited on chart history here. All right, so a buy-in, if REN is something that you'd be looking at. All right, so you can already see all those candles lining up right there for a trend line. Look at that. Nice channel play right there on the 15-minute. Ooh. Ooh, that's almost 13% each time it touches the bottom back up to the top. At 4x, that is some serious scalping working this way up to the top and bottom. That's some good money. So, of course, since it is holding and respecting all of these trend lines within this channel, let's see if this gets a support retest, probably somewhere around, oops. I'm not going to post a buy on this yet because of this 15-minute is kind of hitting this downtrend. So I'd like to see somewhere closer to 600 and see if this channel even holds. It doesn't look all that great, to be honest. I may even say that it could catch a fall out of the channel and fall deeper, probably all the way back down here to about 560s would be an optimum buy-in right there. That'd be a great buy-in. Look, you can stretch that support line all the way out. And you can see how well that lines up. Lots of confluence candles here. Tops, 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 and then some bottoms here and a bottom here. So this would be an absolutely great buy if it comes down all the way to the 560s, maybe even 570 for REN. I don't think it'll come down that low, though, because we want to play our first support zone first right there and watch to see if this does fall down to about to the 600, 610s or so. But again, very limited chart history, so it's hard to really kind of gauge a target on it. Certainly would like to see a test of those rehighs there. I don't even know what the market cap is. All right, so it's got a $56 million market cap, so it's still pretty low. But look at the coin market cap on the USD chart. Okay, so that would put us at a resistance here at around 10 cents. You can see it right there. In all of this pocket zone right here, if the stupid box will get out of the way. So right there around 9 to 10 cents would be probably a good resistance, and it's only at 7.5 cents right now. But again, the books, I don't know what's going on with Binance right now. But the books are kind of right now so far in favor of the bulls. Got some good bid support. All right, so it may even test all the way down to the lower 600s. Because I was looking at that chart there for that first support. If we go back to the 15-minute, 613. Okay, well, it's actually going to... 613 was the top of the support zone, and 600 was the bottom of the support zone. So if we're matching that up with the order books, not much there in the 613s for the top of the support, but you got some bigger buy walls down here at the bottom of the support zone. So maybe a little bit closer to 600 would be a good snag, and probably even put your stop loss there. What's my theory on buying high circulation coins? Well, usually the way that this works is the supply and the coins are pretty well treated like shares of a stock. So you don't want to pay too much attention to what the total supply is as you do what the circulating supply is. So the total supply is just the maximum amount of numbers that a coin has to sell. The circulating supply is what is actually being traded, what is actually being bought and sold. So if you were to subtract this difference from this, that means that Ren, for example, has about another 250, 260 million more coins that they have that they can dump into the market at some point. So a lot of these tokens can be locked up by VCs, or it can be locked up as far as the contracts that the developers have, the marketing team has, what have you. So at some point, I mean, for all we know, it could stay this way for 2 years or so before they decide to release more tokens to sell. It really kind of depends on how well that the coin is funded and how they're managing their funds to continue operations. But when you look at, I don't know, like TRX or something. So, I mean, TRX, by the looks of this chart, just looks really dead since, you know, the mega bull run at the beginning of 2018. You can see the USD value slowly increasing, but if you were to slap on that market cap, it almost follows the price action almost identically. So what this means, well, I was looking for something to show at the top of this peak. I was looking to see if there was somewhere that would show what the circulating supply was at this point. So a lot of times what a coin will do, if they have a monster amount of coins to sell, but they don't have much in the circulating supply, what they'll do is they'll run it up, run the price up, get a bunch of people, you know, hyped up and all that stuff. And then they start taking from here and dumping it into here. And then this is what you get. So that's how you can read what the total supply is versus the circulating supply. And this is the same thing in the stock market world. They'll put, okay, you know, we got 100 billion coins that we can sell. Well, let's put out, I don't know, 3 billion right now. So it's not a lot. Let's create a lot of hype, a lot of buy-in. And then once, you know, it's at a crazy high price and this supply is worth a whole shitload of money, which of course Tron was, I think at one point, this was what, 6 billion? Ooh, even higher, $16 billion. So once the coins were worth $16 billion, they started dumping money into it. And this is what we saw right here on this first drop. Because I think all the way up here at the top, Tron dumped $6 billion worth of coins into the market, which is what started to cause this crash. So that's something that you want to pay really close attention to, especially with a lot of these new coins. Let's say Harmony, for example. So see, look at the market cap here. Practically zero when they first got listed, and now you see the market cap increasing. Okay, so they have 12.5 billion coins, but they only have 2 billion out there right now. So roughly about 15-20% of their total supply is out in the market now. And you can see the steady increase in price. So at some point, let's see if we can do a USD. Well, either one. So at some point, they'll run the price up to some crazy high number, and they'll take coins from here and dump it into here, which will crash the price back down. So if you're looking at a high supply coin, sometimes it's not bad to look at one with a circulating supply almost matches the total supply, because that means that the coin, the company that is, can't dump more into the market. So what is out there in circulating is all there is. We can't expect any more dump from the company. So what out there is to be bought is out there. So a whale can easily just buy it all up and pump the coin himself or something. So yeah, quick lesson on how to read circulating supply versus total supply. So when they dump coins from the total supply into the circulating supply, that is called dilution, because they're diluting the price down by dumping coins. And that's how these coins companies make money. FTM, let's look at FTM real quick. Phantom is another one that has a very nice chart. At least right now on the daily, it's been on I think I told Nose I was looking around for 200 for a rebuy off of this first little pop right here, and I think it came down to 186 or so. And I slept on it. I didn't take it because Bitcoin had me spooked. And because I didn't take it, I was already missing out on about 30%. Because again, here was the breakout, and we don't FOMO into breakouts, and it fell back to a support. And then we could have rebought the support, and then we'd be in some pretty good profit. Not enough chart history on this, though, so it's kind of hard to really gauge. Don't like the RSI right now. Look how it's already kind of rounding over and kicking down. Looks like it's even finding a hard time to get a close. A good solid close, that is. Got a wick above, but it's not really getting a nice candle body close above this resistance zone. So we go to our books and see what our books say. Wow. Okay, so this is really thin. You got two push walls right here, it looks like. A lot of good bid support here. Let's look at the depth. Okay, so see this this little wall right here, how it's kind of like straight up and down. This means that this price, when you see this, I guess like this cliff right here, it means that this is a single big wall. So somewhere right around here at, I don't know, what is that, 290 or so, there's a big wall. Yeah, right there, 290. And there is a 9 Bitcoin wall right there. So if anybody doesn't know how to read the depth, that's what this means. So all of these little zigzags or whatever are just scattered sales, scattered buys. But when you see a straight up cliff dive, pretty much like that or something, that means that this is a single big block. So on the bid side, this looks like 184. And then there's 184 at 7 Bitcoin. And then right behind it, you see another cliff at 180 right there. And then that's where 180 is right there. So you can use these cliffs also essentially because the big order blocks are where you're going to find either heavy support or heavy resistances. So in this case, if Phantom is to continue an uptrend and slowly kind of chip away at these, this 290 area would be a heavy resistance because that is a 9 Bitcoin wall right there. So we can get some buying pressure, chip away at these, nice good push, chip away, Might catch a pullback right here and then chip away all the way up to 290, and then the party is likely going to be over. So where is 290 on our chart? And look at that. Okay, so there's 290. So if you were playing Phantom, and this continues that uptrend, you know where that wall is at 290, right there. And you want to make sure that you're out of it. I would certainly be out of it before the bottoms of these candles right here. So I would be out by about 280 or so, if this is to continue its uptrend. So you could probably set, half 50% sell, here or something, and then the other 50% right here in this little gap. But 290 would be probably the absolute top of this push, if it even makes it. Because right now it doesn't look like it's going to, because this was a doji candle that now just dropped a little bit more. Okay, so it looks like it's failing to get above this resistance zone right here. So if I were to look for a buy-in, I'd probably look right here at the bottoms of those wicks and candles right there. Okay, so around 205. So now let's go to our books and see how close we are. So there's going to be some heavy bid support right here in the 215s. We're on Phantom, which is the tops of these candles and wicks right there. However, I don't really like that. I think it may dip just a wee bit deeper here to 205, maybe even as low as a double bottom right here at 190. Or 184, yeah. So that's how you can kind of play your resistance zones and support zones off of what the order books. So like we did on like the last 5 charts, we threw down where our resistance zones are. It's like, okay, we got some tops and bottoms here that match up. Good confluence zone here for resistance. Let me check my order books to see where my big sale wall is. Okay, there's a big sale wall. I need to make sure that I'm out before that sale wall. So, okay, so that big sell wall is right here at 290. Let me be out and lock in my profits around 280 to 282 just before it. So that's how you can play the order books off of your support and resistance zones. So you can kind of gauge a little bit better where you want to take profits and where you want to set your buys. So any requests out there? Oh, well, one thing I wanted to show also, I know a lot of people are saying that a lot of coins are just, dead, especially when you look at, weekly chart. Let's just take WAN, for example. All right, from a weekly perspective, yeah, this looks absolutely smashed. It looks dead. It looks like it's going to zero. But I want to show, well, let me go to daily. Let me get some more history in the chart. Yeah, so look at all of this, just dead, nothing. But then I want to show how quick a coin can turn around. So I was looking at this today. So this is Unetwork. This is on Huobi. So if we were to kind of match this up with what WAN looks like. Okay, so big run up, dead. And then this just out of, I don't know what happened, because this isn't a coin that I follow. I mean, this just went on a 900, almost a 900% run from this bottom. I don't know anything about Unetwork. Let me try to squeeze this in right beside the WAN chart. Compare. Oh yeah, I forgot I can do that. All right, it's not working. It's not letting me do it. It's not letting me scrunch the chart in so I can see more of it. Okay, but anyways, if you see the similarities between the two charts, so obviously this one here is U Network, very similar looking pattern. And then you see WAN, so they almost follow a similar structure. Now, I'm not saying WAN is going to turn and go on a 1,000% run. However, but you can see how just out of nowhere and quick, a coin just came back to life and has pretty much almost reached all-time highs. Saw someone shill UUU or U Network in our Telegram. May have been, it was probably Caden. I know Caden follows some of these other coins that are on smaller exchanges, or not smaller exchanges, but other coins that we wouldn't normally follow because most everybody's on Binance. No, I wouldn't say that's why we get wrecked. Okay, another public telegram. But no, I mean you'll probably start to see a lot of these charts that just look like they're absolutely dead, not coming back to life at all. Just all of a sudden, they reach a point in their development that they're ready for mainstream and adoption, and they start collecting partnerships and whatnot, and they just come back to life. Because I mean, look at this. U Network just looked like absolute trash for quite literally. This is August of last year up until June of this year. Let's see if we can compare another one. I don't know, let's try Qtum. Okay, look at Qtum here in the light blue. Just dead. But as we saw from the Qtum chart, this weekly just crossed bullish here. So for all we know, Qtum over the next, I don't know, a few weeks or something, bam, and then bam, or, something. So I think a lot of these coins that first came out and were extremely overhyped back in the top of 2018 before everything crashed, and now everything just died and actual working products and development takes place. And then now they're kind of reaching a point where, okay, we're not so overhyped anymore. We might actually start seeing some coins show their true value and actually come back to life. Compare Aeon. All right, let me turn off WAN here. No, let me just go here. We'll go to the daily. We'll go to compare. Turn moving averages off. I don't know why it's not letting me manipulate the chart here. Okay, so here in the orange is Aeon. So it's almost a very similar structure to Qtum. Dead. But right here's the little kick up right there on Aeon. And then matching the kick up right here on Qtum. However, it's just slightly behind. So Aeon may, if it follows suit, it may turn up and kick up as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why people just hate on IOTA so much. IOTA is a freaking solid coin. I mean, they really are revolutionary as far as IoT goes. I mean, this is almost identical right here. So yeah, Aeon is the same. I mean, IOTA is the same here. Got the little kick up right here, so it's building a base, building support to start a reversal. And I think now with Bitcoin being sapped as far as its current momentum, and I think I saw a lot on Twitter that to start looking for alts, because yes, a lot of them will die and they need to die and should die because there's a lot of shit projects out there. But at the height of the bull season was right around the same time that Bitcoin had its monstrous run. So roughly, I think it was, December of 17 is when all the alts started pumping like crazy. So if we saw something similar with Bitcoin now in this cycle, actually this does look awfully similar. This does look really similar right here. Okay, so check this. I just noticed this. And check this. Okay. So watch this candle and watch this structure here. Almost. I don't want to say it's that there, but it might be this one here. But this green structure here, it looks almost, or, well, let me change that to orange. So this orange structure here looks almost identical to here. So there was a lot of push, a lot of momentum, a lot of building up and pumping for Bitcoin, then a big crash, and then it went to all-time highs, and it was roughly around December of 17 is when you saw alts going like 10x out of nowhere. And it looks like we're in a very similar structure here. So big crash, consolidate, next push for Bitcoin. Ironically, just at the same time, we're starting to see some pretty decent looking daily charts heading into some possible weekly consolidations. Wow, look at that candle. Look at that weekly bounce. That is a big weekly bounce for VET. So it's just kind of, surprising that we're seeing these coins start to go on monstrous reversals roughly around the same time that Bitcoin had its big pump and then a crash and then it made all-time highs. So we may be hitting that similar cycle. I don't know. When alts run alongside Bitcoin per se, like some of these shit coins do, aka Scroll. Yeah, Scroll. I don't even know why it's even a coin. Oops, Scroll. Oh, that's right. CoinMarketCap took Scroll off. Okay, so you said Crypto Slate was a solid website. Okay, so Scroll is at 7 cents with a 14.5 million market cap. The volume is dirt. Look at that, 1 billion in supply with only 192 million circulating. Jesus, that means there's almost 800 million more coins that Scroll can dump into the market at the circulating supply. I did a review on this last year, and I honestly didn't see what it had to do with blockchain because the coin actually needed a moderator to handle its supposed smart contracts. So if something happened in the smart contract that would flag or cause a flag, a physical person would actually have to check that contract. So it's not a smart contract, nor is it decentralized if you have a damn moderator. I just wasn't impressed with the project. I really wasn't. To be honest, I was not impressed with, the tech behind it. I think there's better real estate blockchain coins out there, but that's a different story. But yeah, this is what I'm seeing here, guys. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to start seeing some actual real significant updates coming out from all of these coins that had monstrous runs. Wow, look at that little pop right there on AMB. I think it was much cheaper about an hour ago. I think it was still down here in the 330s. So AMB just got a little pop right here. Looks like it popped 6%. With 4x leverage, that's 24. pretty strong 12 hours so far. Nice, building up some steam here. Wan, I'm going to need you to catch up there, buddy. So I bought in around these lower 320s right here. So it looks like just recently I got back to broke even. So about 2 hours ago. Son of a bitch. All right. That's okay. 12 hours is still pretty strong. I just have to wait it out. So yeah, that's what I see. Yeah, some huge accounts shielded. Alt One was one of the big people that shielded Scroll. I think he banked. Somebody said 15 million off of it, but I don't believe that because the market cap wasn't even high enough for him to dump all his coins. So I think someone may have meant 1.5 million because he got in on white paper prices, like dirt cheap prices, just to shield the coin because he has a big following. And when it ran to like 30 cents or something, he banked like 1.5 million off of it. And I think that's when he bought that new green Lambo or something. Well, that's all I got, guys. If there's no other questions or requests, so we looked at some coins. Again, we're not looking for anything huge just yet as far as pops. Bitcoin is still king. So we really need to watch what happens. I really think that this is going to go into a correction. A lot of big accounts, especially like Trade Room, is even calling for 9,000. So yeah, we're just gonna. Doesn't look like a whole lot of action is going to go on over the weekend. So we're just kind of in limbo, just kind of watching, see what happens and all that. So, yep, I'm going to take a little break, and I'll be around a little bit later if you guys got any questions. Later.